So now I'm going to hand things over to our presenters. We have Catherine Dunbar, CQL's Vice President of Services and Systems Excellence, Gretchen Block, CQL's Director of Partner Engagement, and Jackie Cooper, our full-time Quality Enhancement Specialist. Catherine, Gretchen, Jackie, it's all yours.
All right, thank you, Seth. Good afternoon, everyone. Just want to welcome you to our webinar today. First, I just want to, go over our mission and vision. And our vision is a world of dignity, opportunity, and community for all people. Our mission is that we are dedicated to the definition, measurement, and improvement of personal quality of life. We currently accredit more than 420 organizations in 25 states. We also accredit the Tennessee IDD system, all North Dakota and South Dakota organizations, and we also accredit organizations in Canada and Ireland. So very exciting to be where we are today. So a few of the benefits of accreditation is one of the ones that I find that's most liked by people is the resource sharing that we're doing, and then also the networking and with other accredited organizations. A lot of people like our approach. We take an appreciative inquiry approach where we're really focusing on the things that an organization is doing well and using those skills to take advantage of some opportunities to raise the bar on their quality services. It's also an external evaluation. We work with organizations where outside entity to really take a fresh look at the services an agency is providing. So we have lots and lots of questions to start. So I want to hand this off to Gretchen, if you want to get us started.
I think I will start. I'm Jackie Cooper, like Seth said, and I'm going to be your MC kind of for the remainder of our presentation. I get the honor of asking our very own accreditation experts, Catherine Dunbar and Gretchen Block, to kind of discuss some of the basics and answer key questions about accreditation that we hear from our first timers going through accreditation, and then others that were submitted from all of you. So I will begin with asking you, Gretchen, our first question. What is accreditation?
Thanks, Jackie. And I do have to say, we got a lot of great questions from people that are attending today. Thank you so much for submitting those. And let's start with that one. So accreditation, quite honestly, it's formal recognition of the fact that an organization has attained a specific set of standards. I know sometimes people view that as passing a test, but CQL's accreditation approach is really more about your quality journey, the ongoing organizational transformation that you're experiencing. So instead of receiving a passing score, it's about choosing the right path based on the feedback, recommendations, and ideas from your stakeholders, the people you support, your staff, others that are connected to your organization in meaningful ways. And we're measuring that progress. At CQL, you're going to hear us say, we're going to meet you where you're at, and we're going to help you achieve positive results driven by the expectations of your stakeholders.
Great. Thanks, Gretchen. So if someone is interested in learning more about the accreditation process of CQL, where do they start?
I would love to talk with anybody that is interested in having a conversation about that. Now, you can find a lot of great information on our website. There's an accreditation tab. There's a spot to actually submit an inquiry, and we'll get a note from you, and we'll know that you want us to reach out and contact you. However, you're also going to see my email address at the end of this webinar. You are welcome to email me directly anytime.
Great. So how quickly can someone become accredited?
So, the timeline really depends on a lot of factors. And first and foremost, we recommend that providers give themselves plenty of time to prepare without rushing through the process. So you're going to hear me say, if you reach out, I'm going to tell you, give yourself honestly at least 6 months from the time you submit your application until you have your initial visit with us. That's going to allow the time that you need to prepare. We've got lots of resources we want to share with you, manuals, webinars. You will be completing at least one very comprehensive self-assessment of your services. And you're going to have lots of planning conversations with myself, with the team that is working with you. So let's make sure that we can do that in a way that, you're able to, take in that information without rushing through the process. Organizations that take advantage of all of the pre-planning activities and resources we offer, those are the organizations that are typically successful at the time of that first visit. So that preparation cannot be stressed enough.
Great. So one participant asked the question, can it happen any faster than 6 months?
So it certainly can. And again, there's factors that go into that. Let's talk, reach out to me. We'll work with our scheduler to see what our availability is, and certainly based on your availability as well as an organization. If we do fast track things a little bit, that still means you definitely need to take advantage of all of the pre-planning and the resources. So you're going to want to think about that before you commit to something a little bit faster than 6 months.
All right. Thank you, Gretchen. We're going to shift gears a little bit. Now we'd like
Okay.
to discuss a little bit about the differences with the types of accreditation that we offer.
All right. So we've got 4 different options, and if you take a peek at our website, you're going to see those. If you reach out to me directly, I'm going to give you a fantastic resource that Seth Petrie put together that gives a lot of additional information about the different types of accreditation as well. But just to briefly summarize, first of all, we've got something called systems accreditation. That accreditation is reserved for organizations that are new to a partnership with CQL. You've not yet started services, and you commit to waiting to start services until you make it through the accreditation process and are awarded accreditation. We are working with you to help ensure you have a solid foundation from which to start those services. A lot of it is centered around policy development. As you develop your policies, you'll be providing us with those policies so that we can review them, provide you with feedback. That is the 1-year systems accreditation. We've also got quality assurances accreditation. That is a 3-year accreditation term. And organizations that are new to a partnership with CQL and you're already providing services, this is the type of accreditation for you. This is also a great accreditation option for organizations that would like to firm up their foundation, or perhaps you've had a lot of leadership changes and you just want to make sure that foundation is solid. So what we are doing with you there is introducing or helping you strengthen your processes through our internationally recognized tools and approaches. We are going to reinforce your organizational systems that translate from policy into practice. And of course, we want to make sure that they are positively impacting the people that you provide services for. This type of accreditation involves 2 visits over the course of the 3-year accreditation term. Then we've got person-centered excellence accreditation, which is a 4-year accreditation term. An organization that is looking to expand upon the use of the basic assurances, as well as personal outcome measures. And then we're going to introduce shared values as well. We want to make sure that you're deeply integrating these tools to ensure quality improvement. Human services providers pursue person-centered excellence accreditation because of that. This level of accreditation works to transform your person-centered philosophies into consistent organizational practices. And we want to make sure you're utilizing data to inform and drive agency-wide decision-making. Finally, we've got person-centered excellence with distinction. This is also a four-year accreditation term. It has very stringent standards for human services organizations, requiring measurable results. This level or type of accreditation is for organizations, again, with deeply embedded person-centered approaches and practices. And you would be using CQL's tools consistently. There's strict eligibility criteria, which you'll see on our website, or if you reach out and would like some additional information, I'm happy to go through that with you. There are rigorous expectations involving the impact of supports on outcomes, the application of certification of personal outcome measures, as well as very robust data collection and analysis requirements.
Now that we know the differences between the different types of accreditation, can you tell us what accreditation costs?
Yeah, of course, this is a consistent question that we receive. Pricing is primarily based on the number of people that an organization supports. We're going to ask you, what different services that you offer, and geography at times plays a role as well, especially, for example, if an organization is very geographically spread out, or if you're in the states, if you're providing services in multiple states, for example. I am happy at any time to talk through what it would specifically cost for any provider if you want to reach out. So email me and we can talk about the information that I would need from you. Again, primarily number of people you're providing services for. That would be an unduplicated number along with the services that you're offering. And then I will give you that quote. By the way, after an organization has paid their initial $2,500 engagement fee, that's what kicks everything off. That's how we get you on our schedule. That is a consistent fee for all providers. We do offer payment plans for visit costs, and we would include, or we're happy to include, travel fees that you incur in those payment plans. So our colleague here at CQL, Trina Meath, we would get you connected with her and help you set up that payment plan. And we will do that at no additional cost to an organization as long as payments are consistently made on time.
Nice. Okay. So, what sets CQL apart from other accrediting bodies?
Okay. So this is another question that I think, we do get pretty routinely. I think what's important to remember about CQL is that we are going to meet you where you are. We don't expect perfection. That is not realistic in life, right? There's no percentage, for example, that has to be met, but what we do require is full transparency and commitment to the partnership. And I'm talking about things like responsiveness, meeting deadlines, things like that. We're going to let you know immediately if we observe any red flags that we are concerned about that could jeopardize your chance of achieving accreditation. But honestly, the really great thing about the accreditation experience with CQL is that while, of course, we're going to want to review your policies, your plans, those things that you have in writing that reflect how you operate, what you expect of yourself and your team as a provider, our focus is very, in large part, about hearing directly from the people that are part of your world. And that's going to be the people you support, your DSPs, frontline staff, other staff, family members of people you support, even community partners that are connected to your organization in meaningful ways. That is at the heart of what CQL does, because it's at the heart of what you do. I also love, and I want to emphasize this, that the vast majority of our team have previously, and in many cases still are working as providers. They have a background that gives them an excellent perspective on what it's like to do what our providers do every day.
Yes. So, in addition, Gretchen, to the benefits that Catherine mentioned earlier, are there any others?
Absolutely. You know, and when we were preparing for this webinar, we talked about some of the things that we see pop up routinely. You know, as a reminder, you're going to get open, honest, unbiased feedback during an accreditation visit with us, during activities that you engage in with CQL. CQL embraces a partnership with those that achieve accreditation, not just during the visit, but throughout your entire accreditation term. We are here to offer support and guidance and resources, check-ins as needed. I think it's awesome that our marketing team provides organizations with great resources to communicate your achievement. Make sure you're using the CQL accreditation logo and other resources that Seth and his team offer. We are offering monthly topic-based webinars. Make sure you take advantage of those. Sign up for our newsletter, our capstone newsletter. You're going to get a lot of great information that way and reminders of webinars, free webinars oftentimes that we are putting out there. We definitely also want you, and Catherine touched on this, we want you to network with other accredited organizations and support one another, learn from one another. Every organization that is accredited by CQL, you can find that right on our website. And oftentimes those organizations have their website linked on ours. So you can pop in and get to know them through their website, reach out. Check with us if you want us to help make a connection. We're happy to do that too. Of course, our fabulous quality enhancement specialists, you know, folks like Jackie are here to support and consult with you when things come up. You have concerns or questions, don't hesitate to do that. And you know, every organization that is accredited by CQL, you do receive complimentary access to our online data system portal. And don't forget about the 5% discount on CQL training and PALM certification if you are an accredited organization or an organization in the process of seeking accreditation. We've got a special code that we can give out to you. You can reach out, email, give a call. I'm happy to share that, and others at CQL have that code to share with you as well. So make sure you take advantage of that.
Wow, Gretchen, lots of great benefits. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So after the accreditation visit 1 is successfully completed, how soon will someone get proof of that accreditation?
Like next steps after the visit is done, right?
Yes, yes, after
Okay.
visit 1.
Okay, so let's just say Jackie's had a visit with you, you've wrapped things up. In the weeks following that visit, you're probably going to be finalizing some goals, perhaps a basic assurances plan, a PALM plan, whatever the case may be. Getting that over to Jackie. Jackie will review it, approve it. When it's looking good, Jackie will send all of the documents from your accreditation visit over to our team for editing, and we will get those documents out to you at the same time. Our finance person, Trina, she's going to make sure you get your invoice for payment that is due. And once all of those things are taken care of, then you will get an email from our team with that proof of accreditation. So you're going to get a certificate, a letter from our CEO signifying your achievement. You know, that can take at least several weeks. So if at any point you are needing to fast track anything, or you want to check in and see where things are at, just give me a shout and we'll see what's going on and get you what you need as fast as we can.
Great. So, Catherine, this one is for you. What are the differences in data expectations for the different types of accreditations that we offer?
Sure, that's a really great question. I'm glad someone asked. So for a systems accreditation, we really wouldn't expect data to be collected since the agencies aren't really providing services yet. So that would definitely make a problem for collecting data. For the quality assurances accreditation, during a first accreditation with us, we spend quite a bit of time teaching people about data and our expectations around data. So we would expect you to start collecting and analyzing that data um, uh, with metrics that are meaningful to your organization. And we usually help you take some of the data that you're already collecting as an organization, say EEOC requirements, and we would help you figure out where best to put that with the basic assurances. For PCE, we would expect you to be using the information learned. So collecting, analyzing, using to make data-informed decisions. And we would also expect you to be using the information that you're gathering from the use of the personal outcome measures. For PCE, just a reminder that you do not need to have certified POM interviewers to use that data. We know we're certainly happy to provide you with a list of different webinars and resources that we have regarding the personal outcome measures and the use of them to help you on your way, but we do not expect certified POM interviewers. For PCE with distinction, we certainly expect more data use, more sophisticated data. So some of the nuanced things that agencies can collect to really learn about the organization. And then we also expect the PCED organization to use certified POM and to enter those into our database.
Great.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
All right. So now we've gotten some basics squared away around the accreditation. Now we'd like to talk a little bit about the process in which you get prepared for that accreditation, that first accreditation visit. And Gretchen is going to cover this for us.
So just real briefly, a couple of things you can expect if you engage with us for accreditation. We're going to make sure that we've got some formal documentation that outlines, when we're visiting, pricing, and other details related to your partnership with us. You'll get that in the form of what we call a letter of engagement from me. We'll start sharing resources with you. We're going to talk about setting up conversations so that you can start pre-planning for your activities. At the same time, we will give you access to work on completing that self-assessment. Could be just the basic assurances self-assessment, maybe some additional self-assessments for other types of accreditation. Every organization that is going through accreditation is going to complete at least the basic assurances self-assessment. And again, it's a very comprehensive self-assessment, and you want to give yourself time to thoughtfully go through all of the questions. You're going to be, as an organization, making sure that you provide us with documentation that we need. And you're going to hear from people like Jackie. I need to see a lot of that documentation even before your initial visit. Our quality enhancement specialists, they do their homework even before they arrive. They want to make sure they get to know you well even before that first day with you. So you're going to be gathering policies, plans, and other things to share with us. You'll also be preparing for, a brief presentation and conversations between CQL and your stakeholders. We'll pull together the schedule together. There's lots of things to accomplish as you get ready for that first visit. And we will walk you through that between myself and the person leading your accreditation. We will go through all of that together.
Yeah, I think, Gretchen, the most important thing that you said that could really help out organizations is just making sure that you give yourself enough time to be able to thoughtfully and mindfully complete the assessments and
Mhm.
gathering the important supporting documentation to start your accreditation review.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have some more questions from our
Okay.
audience in regards to getting prepared for the visit. Gretchen, can you explain how whether or not and what's the process of an organization being able to use a consultant to kind of help prepare them for an accreditation?
Okay. Okay. This is timely. I had several questions about this today, in fact. What we typically tell providers, while organizations do have the right to seek and pay for outside assistance when you're preparing for your accreditation activities with CQL, I can't emphasize this enough. That does not replace the need for your staff from your organization to be part of every step of the journey from start to finish. And this includes developing and updating policies and plans, completing self-assessments, participating in those pre-planning conversations, and of course, the actual accreditation visit activities. The people that are there with you every day at the organization, your staff, the people you support, other stakeholders, they must be the primary participants. I think the other thing that's important to keep in mind, you are paying CQL to provide you with guidance, resources, information. So, honestly, the use of a consultant could at times be a bit redundant.
Okay, so another person asked, we are a small provider with limited resources. How can we be successful too when there is so much to do?
We love our small providers, and
We do.
Jackie, you know this. We work with so many providers that support a small number of people. Could be
Yes.
10, could be 5, could be one person. But every provider is so important to us, and I love it when our quality enhancement specialists remind providers, you can think big, and we all should, but start small. It's okay to start small. CQL is going to be there to help you prioritize the opportunities that we discover together as we go through this process with you. I think the other thing that's so important, listen to your stakeholders. What are the priorities of the individuals you're supporting, your team? Where do they want to start, right? You have to be listening to people consistently and celebrate the wins. I can't stress this enough. That's going to inspire you to keep going. I know that the list of tasks that you may need to accomplish, it could seem daunting. But again, we're going to prioritize with you. And we want you to take a little bit of time to celebrate when you achieve things as you go through, your goals, your plans. Celebrating those wins, that is going to inspire you to keep going. And most importantly, reach out to CQL if you need support. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, you need a little bit of a reset, you want to chat with someone, you've got that team that worked with you, reach out, talk to them. If you need help connecting, you can always check in with me and I will make sure we get you to the right person that can support you.
Excellent. Thank you, Gretchen. So,
Yeah.
one participant wrote in and asked the question, we've never worked with CQL before and need to get accredited. Can you speak, can they speak with an organization that has worked with us previously to ask about their experiences with CQL?
We love that when that happens, and I think that is
Yes.
so important to talk with people that have had experience working with CQL. They're going to tell you exactly, what it's like. And again, just a reminder, every organization that's accredited by CQL, you can find them right on our website under the accreditation tab. You can filter that by geography. You can also filter by type of organization. And if you need any assistance connecting with a provider that you're interested in talking with, let us know. The other thing that our marketing team, Seth and Maddie, have done a great job, along with Jackie and our other quality enhancement specialists. Our team has co-authored some great articles with providers that have been through the accreditation experience with us. So you're going to get lots of good ideas and perspective by reading through those articles. And I think Seth just posted a link in the chat, so you can easily get on over there and check those out.
Nice. Thanks, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
So are there any changes that our participants should know about to the accreditation process?
Okay, so yeah, we definitely know we've got some folks on this call that are thinking about partnering with us for the first time, and then we've also got lots of partners that have been with us a while, and we appreciate all of you. For those of you that have been through accreditation before, you know, most of the activities we facilitate during accreditation visits, they're going to be familiar with what you've experienced previously. We have not made too many changes to our process, and honestly, that's for several reasons. First of all, the activities that you are familiar with, they're working very effectively to help us gain the information and insight we need to provide you with meaningful feedback, to validate your self-assessments, and to determine an award of accreditation. And frankly, you know, since our process works so well for us, we really see no reason to throw organizations any curveballs. We know you all are very busy. What's exciting for us is what's new from you during that accreditation renewal, the changes, the successes, and honestly also the opportunities since the last time we worked with you on a visit one. We have added one new focus group to the scheduling lineup that many of you have, I believe, had the chance to experience already. We have been doing frontline manager focus groups, and they have been fantastic. We have learned so much from those individuals at your organization that lead your direct support teams. The feedback and ideas have been tremendous. So we will continue to include frontline manager focus groups going forward.
Great. I love this next question, Gretchen. What have we found to be the most challenging aspect of accreditation for providers?
Okay, so when we looked at this, I know Jackie, you and I were chatting a little bit about what we thought, you know, we should share. From my perspective, one of the things that I think puts organizations at a disadvantage is if you don't prepare effectively. You need to take advantage of all of the resources and planning meetings that we offer. And Jackie, I know you had mentioned as you prepare for the visit, as the organizations are preparing, and you're thinking about who you want and need involved in the various activities, you absolutely need to make sure that you have the right people at the table for those accreditation activities, especially the basic assurances factor conversations. Who are your experts in each of those 10 basic assurances factors? Those are the folks that we need at the table for those conversations.
I think it's also good to mention, Gretchen, having new staff involved in those factor group discussions as well.
Absolutely.
The more the merrier at the table.
That is so true, Jackie. And the fact that these accreditation activities are occurring, take advantage. If you've got somebody that is new to the organization or they're not new to the organization, but new to their role, and they would benefit simply from sitting in and listening to some of these conversations, we welcome that. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, developing that culture that you're wanting to portray is extremely important, that everyone buys in.
Yep.
Not just leadership, not just the executive team.
100%.
All right. So the next question is, what internal departments are needed to run a successful CQL accredited organization? And I think we started answering that one.
I think so too. I think so too. You know, similar to documents and how organizations put things on paper. It's true of how you structure your departments and your team as well. Every organization is different. And honestly, it's not about the department, it's about the people. So, who are the people that are part of your world at your organization that you look at them and you say, that is an accreditation champion. They are excited, they are energized. We need to unleash that and let that permeate among all of our team. And honestly, at the end of the day, just a very important reminder, all of this is a team effort. It is not, nor should ever be, a party of one. So, you know, find the people that are excited, and that's your crew for sure.
Yes, great. So we have an incredible webinar, the 10 tips to prepare for CQL accreditation, that we'd like to bring to your attention. And I believe Seth's going to add that to our chat box. All right, so now we are going to move on to after that first visit. Now we'll check in with Catherine about after that first accreditation visit. Can you describe for us what those annual check-ins between the accreditation visits are like?
I sure can. So for quality assurances accreditation, we do a check-in visit between 12 and 18 months where we're looking at the progress of your goals. For PCE, we do check-ins at the 18 and 36 month marks to check on progress of your basic assurances goals and your PCE goals. A lot of people ask me why we've done this or why we do this. And for one, it's a partnership. And so the more we can touch base, the more we can support you. As usual, it's always okay to connect with us and get information. But we want to make sure that we're maintaining that relationship. Frankly, when I was working for an organization that was accredited by CQL, I found those mid-cycle check-ins to be very motivating and very exciting because, you know, CQL encourages organizations to celebrate their successes. And this is at one point where you can do this and tell us all about what is going really well. And then we're going to support you to help overcome some of the challenges that are within our wheelhouse, at least. So it's also another time for us to share resources and, you know, connect you with other organizations that may be able to support you also. Jackie, did you have anything to add to that since you do a lot of these too?
Yes, Catherine. So one thing that I'd like to add is just ensuring that you understand that these check-ins that are in between in the middle of the accreditation cycle are very important because we just want to see progression on those action plan items. There's no definitive that everything has to be checked off of your action plan. Action plans for basic assurance or your person-centered excellence, what really matters. We just really want to see that progression. Remember, it's all about quality versus quantity.
That's a great reminder, Jackie. The other thing I want to reinforce is that CQL never will just show up on your doorstep. We will always schedule a visit with you. So you don't have to, you know, worry about us just showing up to we don't do any pop-in or drop-in type visits. So to remind everyone of that.
Thank you. All right. So one person had asked about the time frame from the beginning of the process until the accreditation is granted. And so Catherine is going to briefly just go over our accreditation timeline.
Sure, thank you. So Gretchen's already talked about the engagement form, and this is going to be different for everyone, and these are just the steps because A lot of this is dependent upon the agency availability and the agency's timeline, and not just CQL's availability. So Gretchen also mentioned the planning process, where you're going to meet with not only Gretchen, who will take you through the preliminary steps. She will also make an introduction to your lead quality enhancement specialist, so you can begin your relationship with that person. And you're going to have at least one, probably more, planning meetings regarding your accreditation and the activities that will occur. This is a lot of logistics on the agency part too, or especially really setting up the personal outcome measure interviews, setting up the focus groups, making sure that the right people are at the right table at the right time. So it's not easy, but it is a great way to get the information that we need. You're going to self-assess. You're going to complete a basic assurances self-assessment for all types of accreditation. And there are some additional assessments that PCEU organizations do. They do a shared values assessment, and then there are many more assessments that a PCED organization would do. So after we do all that, you have your engagement form, you've paid your fees, we've verified the dates we're going to be there. You've done your self-assessment. Typically, the QESs ask for that to be submitted anywhere from, I would say 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, probably. That gives our QESs time to review the information prior to the visit. And that's so we can provide meaningful feedback. That's also in case we need additional information. And it also helps our QESs prepare their questions. Then
that's also generally, Catherine, when we ask, that's kind of the timeline when it comes to asking for the supporting documentation for the assessments.
Yes.
It's around the 4-week mark.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, Jackie. That's very, very important. Those documents have to be shared with us so we can actually do all the preparation that we do on our end for an accreditation. And then if you provide services that require us to come on site, which most organizations do, we get to come and visit you. And that accreditation is typically 4 days, not always. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. It depends on the demographics and the type of organization that you have. And during the site visit, we do all of the work when we're talking with people, we're doing interviews, we're visiting people where they receive services, we're talking about all the factors, you know, all of that. Our staff have the authority to determine if the organization is going to be accredited. So you will know by the end of the week if you have achieved accreditation. So there will be reason to celebrate. And we always try to encourage people to take that last day of accreditation after the closing meeting, just to take the rest of the day to process and maybe celebrate, or, you know, however that looks for your organization, but to kind of set everything aside for the weekend. So because accreditation is a lot of information being given to you, a lot of information you're sharing, a lot of pivoting, you know, if people can't make a certain meeting, or, you know, something happens, things like that. And then the rest of the accreditation is that ongoing partnership, which is so key to CQL and our organizations that we accredit.
Great, thanks. All right, so there were other questions that we received that we would like to kind of review fairly quickly. I know we are being mindful of time. The first question that I would like to ask Catherine is, okay, so we talked about all the different kinds of accreditation, but there is one more type of accreditation, if you could please describe, and that would be the network accreditation.
Yes, the reason we didn't cover it, you know, fully in this FAQ is because network accreditation is one that is granted to service delivery systems. So for instance, we have a long relationship with the Tennessee Department of Disability and Aging. We've worked with them for a lot of years. And they have other criteria to meet. We're currently working with Maryland for network accreditation, and it's a long process. There's a lot to do. And, you know, it is reserved for state delivery systems. So thank you for asking that question, Jackie.
You are very welcome. All right. Catherine, how does CQL accreditation emulate or resemble other state or federal accreditation governing bodies?
We actually get asked this question quite a bit. We consistently tell organizations that we are not there to do a regulatory review. There are certain states that have full or deemed status, which means that agencies are getting some administrative relief from the regulations if they're accredited. In some states, it's required. In some states, it is not required and has no impact on the regulatory reviews that you may receive. So typically when the government, whether it be state or federal or county, any overseeing body, comes to look at your organization, they're focusing most on those regulatory requirements. We are focusing on best practice, we're teaching best practice, and we're trying to move your agency ahead when it comes to quality services. Not that regulatory bodies don't do that, they certainly do. We expect organizations to attest to the fact that they are in compliance with regulation. And if there is a significant compliance issue, then we would talk about that and kind of work through that. So really the bottom line is that we're looking at quality and services from the perspective of the person and not regulatory compliance. It's a bit of a different vibe.
Great explanation. All right, so the next question that we received, what are the basic assurances and what should we expect regarding the changes, updates that are being made to them?
Sure. So we're really moving away from the traditional service type from that organizations provide. Seth just posted a link to what the basic assurances are. I'm afraid we probably don't have time to go through all of those, but these are the things that we want an organization to do. So we consider them non-negotiable, which is why agencies will have to write action plans to align the basic assurances to their current systems and practices. So lots and lots of information about those on our website.
Great. Thanks, Seth, for posting that. What is the best way a provider can encourage people supported to choose and participate in the activities of an accreditation?
Oh my gosh, I was so excited when someone submitted this question because it's such a great question. And this would, not just for people receiving services, but others too, other stakeholders that you may have, DSPs. If you want to include a family member or two, you can certainly do that. It's really how you would like to invite people to do that, but share the enthusiasm. Gretchen spoke about this a little earlier within our webinar, and it's just, you need that cheerleader to really get people excited about the accreditation process. Make sure that people know, especially when it comes to focus group members, make sure they know it's not a test. We are there to gather information about the organization that we summarize and take back to the organization. One of the things that often comes out of those focus groups is solutions, to some of the challenges an organization may be facing. So, we want to see a wide variety of people. So, get those accreditation cheerleaders out there and make sure people know that it's not a test. We're not going to pop quiz you on the definitions of, abuse and neglect or anything like that. Also be very clear about what the activity is and why their input will be valuable. You always want to make sure that people within your organizations feel valued and that their opinions matter. So when you make sure that there's a clear understanding of what's going to happen during the activity, that certainly helps with typically getting more people to the table. Another thing that you can do is really encourage people to attend that opening meeting. We love to hear from people. And that opening meeting is such a good way for you to introduce people to us and help them tell stories. So that's people receiving services, DSPs, just people who have experiences with your organization that would help us get to know you better. Make focus groups a way of life. If you're encouraging people sharing their opinion and sharing their stories, it's going to be, something that is typical for them, and they'll be more apt to join a focus group that CQL is facilitating. There are lots of different ways that you can do that. Always with any sort of focus group, you want to have the facilitator be someone who is trusted and objective. So that's always a very important thing. The last thing I would recommend is to get them involved in the planning. There's a lot of planning involved, especially when you're a large organization. And, you may need people receiving services and DSPs and, other stakeholders to help you organize the accreditation. So, maybe if you have a self-advocate that can get people, to participate in a personal outcome measure interview or a focus group, same with DSPs, the better that your participation will be.
Great. All right. I think we're almost out of time. Real quick, can you give us some guidance on the use of cameras?
Okay, so this is specifically talking about cameras inside a home that are being used typically in common areas. Like any restriction, it has to go through due process. It has to be the least restrictive. It has to be the least intrusive for the person. And you have to make sure that it is based on an individualized and assessed need. So an individualized rights restriction used for a person cannot affect other people in the same setting to the greatest extent possible. So it's very difficult to support people to have control of a camera that's in their living room. So this is a very widely talked about topic. We don't really have any data on the use of cameras, but we do people do tell us that they do not like them. So make sure that it goes through due process when you have to use them. You also have to be crystal clear and transparent with CQL about the use of cameras. We don't want any surprises when it comes to our visit, and we can come prepared with some suggestions and some connections to agencies that are really good at protecting people's privacy.
Thank you. So the very last question that we have for the people that are attending now, what's so special about personal outcome measures?
Oh, well, I love the personal outcome measures, Jackie. So it is, first of all, it's a valid and reliable tool. So that is, very important to recognize, and that the personal outcome measures is a nationally recognized tool by CMS and is included in their home and community-based services quality measure set. So we do have some states that are going to be taking advantage of using the POM as part of their HCBS reporting. So that is very, very exciting for us. And I'm sure it's I know it's very exciting to our leadership team, especially Dr. Carly Friedman, who does a lot of research when it comes to the POM. So we do, for the use of the POM as part of the quality measure set, you do have to use certified interviewers just to make sure that people are aware of that.
Great. We have tons of great resources and webinars on our website about our personal outcome measures process, and what the benefits are and the value of it. So, all right. So let's see. All right, Seth. Seth, we can't hear you.
I am so sorry, the dreaded mute button. Please be sure to sign up for our email list. We send out all sorts of guides, webinars, tools, reports, news, updates, and I will be posting a link to sign up to those in the chat box. And that's how you can find out about additional webinar opportunities that we might have coming down on the calendar. And then also be sure to connect with us on social media. CQL is on Facebook, on Twitter/X, YouTube, LinkedIn. We also have the Facebook e-community, which is a user-driven kind of networking platform where people ask questions, ask for assistance, share resources. It's just like, as kind of everyone's been talking about throughout this session today, one of the big values of CQL and accreditation is connecting all these organizations and swapping ideas, swapping resources, best practices, and the e-community is just a fantastic platform to do that. So be sure to join the e-community. You can check out the link in the chat box for that. And then I know we are coming right up on the end of the hour, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time, but we do have just a couple of minutes. So we'll try to address as many questions as we can in the Q&A. So be sure to submit those in the Q&A if you have any. I'll open this up to any and all of our panelist presenters. One attendee asked if CQL has ever denied an organization an accreditation, like specifically after their visit one.
I can take that question, and the answer is yes. We do try very, very hard to meet organizations where they're at, but there are times where there are some red flags within the organization where we can't accredit an organization. And that's always a very difficult decision to make.
We have, just to add to that, we have worked with several organizations that didn't quite make it the first time, but took advantage of the support we provide, resources. They tried again and they were successful. So
that certainly happens.
Very good. And then another question, kind of, I'll try to broaden it a little bit. Someone had asked specifically about accreditation for daycare. So maybe if our presenters could talk more about the kind of the holistic nature of CQL accreditation and it impacting the whole organization. Would anyone want to tackle that?
Sure. We don't currently accredit agencies that only provide daycare services. We certainly have accredited organizations that have a daycare service specifically for children with disabilities. So, we will take a look at that. We will want to talk to people about that daycare. So the answer is yes. We would have to talk to you specifically if that's the only service you provide, but we do focus on our area of expertise is with people with disabilities. So that would include the children that you support also.
Perfect. And sorry to say, but we are at the top of the hour. And also, I don't see any more live Q&A questions. And I think that's kind of indicative of all the great questions that were submitted during the registration process. So we thank you all for sending those. A reminder that we will be following up with all registrants of this webinar with an email in a couple of weeks. That'll include all of the chat links we send out, the webinar recording, as well as a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides. So I want to thank everyone for attending this webinar, and I want to thank our panelists today, Catherine and Gretchen and Jacqueline, for a great Q&A session with attendees.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.